Let's now shift our attention to the other big story that we are tracking on WION. In a critical push to unite a fractured Republican Party, the American president, Donald Trump, in fact, returned to Capitol Hill today trying to salvage a sweeping tax cut bill that forms the core of his domestic agenda within the United States. Now, President Trump met with the Republican lawmakers in a closed-door session, urging for unity on a massive tax cut plan, an extension of his 2017 signature law. But factions within his own party remain divided, especially over Medicaid, spending cuts and deductions for state and local taxes. Now, Trump has insisted that the Republicans are tremendously unified, but has hinted that any holdouts could face challenges in primary ahead of the midterm elections. Now, the bill proposes to add new tax breaks on tips and overtime pay, which is one of the major poll promises of the American president during his presidential run. The House Speaker Mike Johnson said that Trump's visit was in fact to get everyone in line, and a majority whip Steve Scalise has called Trump the closer, counting on him to sway skeptical members before the Thursday deadline. Now, the American president's visit to the Capitol comes at a time when credit rating agency Moody's has stripped the United States of its top-tier rating. The Republican-controlled Congress has so far backed Trump's agenda without a pushback, but Senate Republicans, including the conservative Josh Hawley, are already showing reservations. With the Memorial Day deadline looming, Trump's power to close the deals in Washington is once again being put to test, but whether he can actually deliver his big, beautiful budget bill is yet to be seen. And to give us more details in terms of what is happening with Donald Trump's big, beautiful budget bill, we joined this broadcast by our correspondent Susan Tehrani, who's joining us live from New York. Susan, you've of course been tracking this fantastic, big, beautiful bill of Donald Trump. But there are members within his own Republican Party who seem not to be convinced with certain aspects of the bill. Tell us, what is this controversy about this big, beautiful budget bill that it has gotten into?
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Mohammed. As this bill goes to the House and Rules Committee to sort of hammer out all of the differences between the conservatives and those that are concerned, there is this growing concern that Republicans aren't on the same page. On the one hand, you have a balancing demand with fiscal conservatives who just want to see more cuts no matter what. And then you have the more moderates and a lot of those who have elections coming up in the midterms that ultimately they just do not, notably senators, they just do not want to see a lot more cuts, notably if it comes to Medicare, Medicaid, entitlement programs like Social Security. Now, as you mentioned, while President Trump and his administration say that they're not going to be touching those, they say that there will be cuts, and how that's going to be implemented is through cutting basically Medicare and Medicaid for illegals here in the United States, and that'll save money. But that's where the nitty-gritty is. And then the more moderates, they want to see a SALT cap, which is basically a cap on state and local taxes in their constituencies. So those are sort of the things that they need to hammer out. It does appear, on the one hand, President Trump really wants to get this big, beautiful bill across the finish line. But on the other hand, it seems the Republicans and Speaker Johnson is really in a peculiar position. Between now and Memorial Day, which is just a few days away, they have to be careful that more Republicans, even one or two, won't deviate and say, you know what, I'm just not going to agree to this at all. So it's still very fluid.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Susan Tehrani, for joining us with all those details there.